Michigan versus Alabama. Michigan came out on top 27-20.
Yeah.
What were your takeaways from this one, Dell?
As an Auburn fan, I was so invested in this game, and I was so scared because the SEC is Alabama. Keeping a danger team like Alabama that close the whole game, I was like, there's just no way they can lose this close game. But they somehow pulled it off. After that first possession, after the first play of the game, J.J. McCarthy, there was a interception. First play of the game. I said, "Oh my gosh, Bama was going to win the Natty." Like we were doomed. I was upset. I was frustrated. Then they get shut out or whatever, and then they shut Bama out. You know what I'm saying? 3 and out. Then they muffed the punt. I'm like, oh my goodness! Like I got flashbacks to the Iron Bowl.
So that was exactly what I was going to say. I had so many, oh crap, it's happening again.
Literally, Bama just can't lose, and I said Michigan just was not ready to play, and it was sad because that defensive line, that front four that Michigan put out there, that first half they were cooking Bama's O line. That's something you don't see, the pocket collapsing that quick. They
Yeah.
had 4 sacks in the first quarter. It was insane to watch them put on a defensive clinic when the offense just was not there. Thankfully, Michigan was able to get some momentum towards halftime. They go up 13, I want to say 13-7, 13-10 going into half. Obviously, that missed extra point. I was just like, look, Bama just can't lose. And I almost came back to bite them in the butt because the score was 20-20 going in overtime. Could have been 21-20. You know what I'm saying? Michigan had a lot of mental errors, a lot of errors, but they came out on top. But it was an exciting game. Outside of the Texas Bama game is my candidate for game of the year as far as how much it tugged in my heart.
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought it was an interesting game from kickoff to final score in OT. I thought there was a lot of times where you expected Michigan, you were waiting on Michigan to make that mistake where Bama would go and they would capitalize, especially in the first half. Like you saw it, the interception, you think Bama's going to go down and score, the missed field goal, the missed extra point. There's like these little lapses in Michigan where you thought, oh crap, this is the moment where Bama is going to step in and do what they did against Auburn. You just had that feeling like it was going to happen the whole time. And even in the fourth quarter, it felt like Jalen Milroe was going to have his moment. He was going to be in control like he had been the majority of the games this season,
Yep.
especially in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Where Michigan, I didn't feel that way. I thought they were consistent all game. I thought Blake Corum was a monster on the ground. And it was honestly the play on third down, the pass to number one, where he got up the sideline after the flag, after the push in the back, after it took him back 10 yards. And then they rushed him a couple more times, and then he was the one who scored. So it was, I thought that was like, oh goodness, that's a big momentum switch. And then when Bama got the ball back, they had real trouble driving there.
Talk about that catch. I think it was in the final drive for Michigan before overtime. The defensive lineman tipped it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a big catch.
Yeah, and it went, I mean, wasn't a big guy either. It went tipped up. It tipped higher than it should have been. So who knows what would have happened if the ball didn't get tipped.
Literally. So, and for the wide receiver to be able to jump and catch it and keep it from being intercepted and keeping the ball alive, keeping the play alive, keeping the drive alive, it was just something like it was a magical moment. And it was a great game by both teams. But good grief, like that game could have went so wrong for Michigan in so many ways, especially with the push in the back. It was the most obvious push in the back I've ever seen. Like, and then he put his hands up. I'm like, God, he'd be
and the other play I thought that was crucial was the kickoff. When Bama didn't get a first down, they punted at the very end of regulation and tried to pin Michigan in their own territory, and the guy fumbles the ball. You're like, you have one job. You just need to catch it and sit there. And he was, I mean, thank God for that kid catching it and staying out of the end zone. I mean, you already dropped the ball, so your mind's probably scrambled. But the fact that he was able to forward progress himself enough to stay outside the end zone before he got decked by every Bama defender that was right there was crazy.
And I can't imagine a Bama fan that looked
oh my goodness,
that looked like a safety so bad.
So bad.
Oh my gosh, they get 2-point conversion and hit the ball back. Like the game was over. 20 seconds left. I was like, this is over. This is the worst game I've ever seen in my life. Michigan after class. That would have been really bad for Harbaugh's legacy if he would have lose that game in that fashion. And it wasn't even anything that he was doing. There was no bad play calls in my. The They
He
had a
said,
lot
"Never
of
mind."
yeah, never mind. Going back, they had a lot of risky play calls. Now that I really
Yeah,
think about it, how
fourth
many
down on their own 30.
what about the play where they this one was successful? It was like a flea flicker. The running back took it to the
And he
right and threw it back to J.J. McCarthy. One-handed grab,
handed.
pressure coming, almost a sack, throws it going backwards. That play could have gone bad on three different occasions. Obviously,
Mhm.
and they tried again in the second half. It was a quick flea flicker. This play is the play call was not wrong on anybody's behalf except the offensive play callers because the blitz they sent a blitz and the blitz came at a perfect time where the running back saw it. He said, I have to get it back. So he just tossed it, obviously short armed it. And that was that was a second down play call.
Yeah, second
What
and
are you,
long.
what are you doing on a second and long on a flea flicker? Like, what do we
Mhm.
obviously, I watching the replay, they had a guy open about 20 yards that way, and they had one over the top that could have been a touchdown.
Yep.
Excellent call, but that's something you run in a bowl game. That's not something you
Right.
run in the CFP.
Right.
So that would have been if Harbaugh were to lose that game, they would have had 8 straight losses in the college football playoffs, and that would have been awful to see. Fish is a great coach, great NFL coach, great college coach, and someone who had an undefeated season up into this far. His legacy be tarnished because he can't put together in the postseason.
And especially how much they've been talking about him potentially leaving. I saw the rumor about Michigan offering him a 10-year contract, 200 something million dollars to make him stay, and then old enough to where he couldn't go to the NFL after. A play
Yep.
like this, a game like this, where you go and beat one of the most legendary coaches of all time, and Saban on a
Yep.
Bama team that is coming off a hot win against Georgia, to come in and put a stop to that,
Yep.
especially against your track record in the past where you haven't been able to win that big game. I thought it
Yep.
was huge for Harbaugh, huge for McCarthy, and huge for their confidence heading forward.